Hi.
Are you ready for this?
I am. But it was the fact that it happened in my salon, but I was full of pride. People knew I had this persona that I had to live up to, and I literally shut down.
How come you've never done a video like this before? Or have you never talked about your story?
I don't know. I think I was just afraid.
And also a lot of things were happening.
So much was happening. I never got a chance.
Where do you start, right?
I mean, you were there. You saw it. Everything was just like, where, at what point? You know what I mean? It was just, and it was too much that I didn't think I even had it in me to sit down and talk about everything that was happening. It was so raw. Yeah. And then I would say in this past year, it's been great, but I've been just enjoying like the happiness and healing that like, I didn't even want to share that because I was like, I don't want to share this joy with the world. Like, what if what if it messes it up? So I've just kind of like, I got into hiding. And I think now I'm in the place where it's like, all right, guys, welcome in, you know, let's talk about what happened.
For those of you that don't know, my name is Scammy. I want to introduce myself really quick. I've been working with Desi for so long now. And she reached out to me and she wanted to do basically an announcement type of video where we are going to be speaking about some very important topics and things that she's never shared before. And the goal with this video is for you to see a side of her that you've never seen, to get to know her in a way that you've never really gotten to know her. But more than anything, I would say, you know, it's for people to relate, right?
To relate, just I want to be authentic. Not that I'm not, and I feel like there have been people that I've opened up to. Like obviously you've been there with me, so you know. But I'm just ready to be like authentic and just talk about stuff that happens to, you know, life happens. And I feel like in our industry, it's not normal to share it because, you know, like you got to share the dream and life is great and it's all so fun. But the reality is that we're human and things happen, you know, and it breaks us or it builds us. And I'm ready to just show you guys like who I really am, like my authentic self and what I went through, the good and the bad.
Yeah, because I think there's a difference between being authentic, because you've been authentic.
I've been authentic, but I've hidden. Yeah, but exactly.
Right? Like, because you've been your real self. You've been ghosted the times that you've needed to be ghosting.
I've been very reserved when on my Instagram, I would say.
Yeah.
I hid behind my logo. And that wasn't how I started. When I started my business, I grew my following because I was always on my stories. I was always sharing my cats and this and the house and da-da-da, and everybody was always such a core part of my day. Mm-hmm. And people really grew to love me and I grew rapidly because of that. And then as I progressed in my business and you came in and joined us and we really became a brand, life got hard. And I saw this opportunity to hide behind my logo. And I kind of did you an injustice because I kind of just passed you the plate. I was just like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this anymore. And I just gave you everything. And you were like, well, what do I do? So, you know, if you didn't know, Kami was actually Slayy for a long time. She held it together for me because I was,
We had to do what we had to do, you know? I think I want to take it back to the beginning, especially when you moved into this new space, right? You were leaving, I remember you were leaving the old space kind of like in a fast
it was crazy.
Motion moment.
And I talked about that a little bit. It was like we got into the space, they tricked us, I didn't read the lease. It was like a nightmare. We spent like 30 grand fixing up the space and then like we just kept encountering all these issues. We called the city, we couldn't get out of the lease that we had signed. I had to get lawyers involved. Finally, the lawyers were like, you're gonna lose all the money you put into the space, but we can get you out. You gotta move out in 2 weeks. So we had to pack everything up. It was mayhem.
We found a new space.
We found the new space, which is beautiful. We loved it. It was such a blessing. We moved into the space. It didn't need a lot of money to be poured in. So I did everything. Like I painted, I built stuff.
Let's take it back to that beginning. So when you did open this new salon, what was your original vision for it? Like, what were you most excited for when you first opened that space?
I was excited for the team. I was excited for like this safe haven. It felt different than the space I had before. I just felt like there was so much opportunity. And I remember like that first walkthrough, like it just felt, I don't know, it felt like a new beginning. You know what I mean? And when we hired everybody, that all the stations, like I had a date that I was like, okay, all the chairs have to be rented by this date, and they all got rented. And I remember like we took everybody out to brunch, and it was like in that beginning phase, like I was so happy. I remember like the first time we all had to sit down, like everybody get to know each other. I always cry, you know, I'm like super emotional, but I cried. And I was like, sorry guys. It just felt like surreal. It felt like, wow, I'm finally gonna have like a good team. Like I did it, you know what I mean? Like it was just a lot of like hopes and expectations. You know, I was excited for my academy. I was excited to have like team members and just to see the business grow.
Yeah,
I was like
live that true CEO vision,
yeah,
right? Of what
live
you
that
thought.
dream that's like on Instagram. You know what I mean? The dream that everybody sees, you know, the big salon and the fast life and the boss CEO and, you know, the team, you know, it was like that dream, you know, like I was ready to live it. And I was like, this is my moment, you know?
So at that point, success to you looked like having the salon, having the team, having your academy, and you thought that that was gonna stay that way for you? Like, did you see yourself being in that space for a long time?
I did. I saw myself being in that space for a really long time. I was like, this is it until I purchased a space because we leased it. I was like, this is it until I grow out of this. And it's a very large space, so it was gonna take time to grow out of it. But at that moment in time, I was like, there's no going back. We're gonna continue to scale. We're gonna be bigger than ever. Like, this is just the beginning of something huge, you know? And success to me then was that. It was growth. It was employees, team members, lots of money, fast life, you know?
Do you remember how you felt like walking into the space for the first time when you got the keys? I remember this one specific video of you with the keys and you're kind of propping the phone. I think it's like low on the ground.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the video so you guys can
remember?
see
Oh
it.
my gosh, don't. It was...
Yes, I know. Very different vibe. You look very different. But it was a very cool video of you with the keys, and I remember the space was empty.
It was huge, and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that video. I actually watched it not too long ago. I watched it like a week ago.
And what was that feeling like? Like, what do you feel like Desi in that moment? It was just full of excitement, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it was excitement and I was happy. And I felt like that was such a blessing, you know. Obviously, looking back now, I'm a different person and I've grown and I think my definitions of like success and happiness have changed a lot. So obviously, like looking back now, I'm like, was that truly like happiness? Like, was I really excited? I was in that moment.
Mm-hmm. But then a few months in.
Yeah, literally just a few months. That was very short-lived. And I didn't realize that until literally a few days ago. I was preparing to like, you know, what I was gonna say. And I started thinking and I was like in my mind, everything, I feel like I teleported. Like I wasn't even in my body these last 3 years. Like, did I like hallucinate? I think I like blacked out or something. Mm-hmm. But in my mind, it felt like I had been in the space for a long time and then this terrible thing happened and then I had to write it out. And I was sitting there a few days ago and I was like, that happened months in. I was literally there for like 3 months and my life completely fell apart.
So a few months in, you had just got on the space.
Like the first few months, like the first 2-3 months, kind of preparing the space. And we rent all the chairs. And then, you know, everybody starts working together. We have like this really awesome brunch to get all the girls together. And it was nice. It was really nice. And I felt like we were all like this little family. Obviously, people started becoming friends. So we started making friendships. I didn't have any boundaries. I had never really been like a boss with a lot of, you know, employees. So of course I was my authentic self and I was like fun and I was, you know, like nice with everybody. And I was just so excited. Like I was so excited and I really did like our team and I was like, this is great. And I don't know, it just happened. And I guess I missed the signs, but maybe it was because like my husband at the time, he wasn't, I guess he was a part of the business. I mean, if you've been following me for a long time, you knew that I had been married for 10 years. My husband at the time helped me build my brand and my business. Like he helped me in the sense that he was beside me. I did a lot of the work and he did work with us. He wasn't like an employee, but he used the space. Mm-hmm. So he was there often. And one of the girls that we had rented the chair out to and him they had an affair.
It's okay. I mean,
I don't even know why I'm crying because like I'm over this. Because I think it's sad.
I think it's something that it's hard to talk about and to, especially when you're thinking back to where you were.
It's the betrayal, I think, you know. I was traveling for a work trip and I was actually in Orlando. I remember the student and everything. I went to Orlando. Of course, at the time I had no idea, but I drove to Orlando. Later, I find out that was when they had an affair. I had never mentioned that. Surprise, you guys. Not only did an affair take place, which is, you know, heartbreaking to anybody. It was 10 years. We were together for a long time. It was a long marriage. But it was the fact that it happened in my salon. Like out of all the people that could have happened with, that was the part that was like, why did you choose to betray me in something that I had built? You know what I mean? That was really tough. And, I later found out that it wasn't just that, it was things that were said, like speaking openly. A lot of the women that were working there that I rented chairs to knew that it was happening and nobody said anything to me. So I got back, and for like a month and a half, everybody knew. Not everybody, but most of the girls knew. No one said anything to me. So I was like walking through the salon and talking to people. I was still being nice to this girl. She invited us out for the holidays and we went. I didn't know. She was engaged. She had a child. We were friends with them. Like we all hung out together, and crazy. So that happened, and I found out about it. I would say like a month or something in, I find out. So I think the worst part was that it was all so public within my salon.
And your business.
In my business. It hit so close to home. And it was like, it hurt in so many different levels, because it was like, not only was I mourning the loss of this relationship and all this work that I had put into it, that I felt like that's a whole other thing. It was just like a flaw of mine, like we were unhappy, and like there was work that needed to be done, and I held on for my own selfish reasons. I should have just let that go a long time ago, but I was full of pride. People knew I had this persona that I had to live up to, and how could I, and then this happened to me. And I was just like, what was it all for? Why did I work so hard? Why did I hold on so long,
And once you found out that this affair had taken place, you let go of her.
I did. So I told him the same day. She happened to be there. He turned around. It was really fast. There was no like talking. It was like I found out, confronted him. He turned around, took all his things from the house. By the time that I got home from work, he was gone. I confronted her. I let her go. She emptied out that same day. And then I was just like left to figure out what I was going to do with my life. Not to mention the fact that I had just purchased a home that we gutted, and I single-handedly like ran the entire project of like renovating, and I spent like over $150,000 like turning this house into a home, our dream home. And now here I am,
From that point, you filed for divorce, right?
So I didn't file. He actually filed. He beat me to it. So we had a conversation after like 2 weeks when everything kind of like settled down. He was out. We had this conversation about filing for divorce, and I wanted to file, but financially we weren't in a great place. I wasn't in a great place. He knew that. There was a decline. There was a lot of spending. Obviously, we had just poured all this money, so like my savings wasn't what it should have been. And I remember
you were building a business and a home.
I was building a business. I was building a home.
Everything.
Yeah, we were already like fighting about finances and the fact that it was all one-sided, and he kept spending, and it was a lot of stuff. When filing for divorce came to topic, I just couldn't deal with it. I remember having this conversation with him, and I was like, I have to like take care of the house. He had this thing where he loved collecting cats. He just, I don't know, he wanted to be like a philanthropist. I don't know, like a humanitarian. So we had so many animals. I had a 120-gallon fish tank with saltwater exotic fish that cost a lot to maintain. That was his hobby. We had 6 cats, a dog. And when I tell you that like he was gone to start this new life with her, and he left me with the business, the house, the animals. So like the idea of like, I literally shut down. So the idea of like going through a divorce, I just couldn't. And I remember like telling him, I was like, I can't do this right now. Like, let's not file right now. Can you just give me a few months to like breathe and get my life together? And he was like, don't worry, like, I'm not going to do that to you. I've done enough, whatever. And then a week later, I get served with the divorce papers. Irreconcilable differences. And I was like, I remember calling him and being like, I told you that I couldn't do this right now, like financially, like you knew this, you left me with all of these, like you left me with all of this, the good and the bad, you left me with everything, like I can't do this, like you knew that. And the options that I were given were, don't worry, you don't have to spend any money, just sign the agreement. And I remember reading that agreement and I was like, what? It was Looking back now, I should have gone a lawyer. But in the time when you're in the midst of like everything happening to you, when you're under an attack, your brain just doesn't work. You just shut down and you start feeling like everything is impossible. I ended up signing the papers. I kind of like negotiated my way out of it. He didn't want me to like publicly speak or like talk about her because obviously
she was crazy. I remember
she was
that
in the
being...
industry, and I was like, you can't take away my word. I was like, that's my truth.
Also,
You can't take that away from me.
Some sort of like famous human being.
Well, the problem was that he piggybacked off my business. Remember, like the photography he had my brand, he had my name. I gave him one of my social media accounts. So his following was my following, and she worked for me. So he was afraid that I was going to tear them down. But I was so embarrassed, and I was in so much pain that like I could never have done that, you know? Even now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking about it. And I'm not talking about it. I forgave him. Like, I just want to make that clear. I forgave both of them, and I wish them the happiest life. Like, I'm grateful that what happened to me. And yes, you can see me being like emotional because it's sad, and I still mourn the person that I was and what I went through. But I would never in a million years trade that or like rewrite that story. Like, I needed to go through that to get to where I am now. And I'm the happiest that I've ever been. And I have someone beside me that I love so, so much. And like, what a blessing. I've become such a beautiful person from that experience. I would never change that. And again, I've forgiven him. I'm just sharing my truth and what happened in that moment.
And how do you feel like going through that betrayal and the affair in that moment? How did that affect you mentally as a business owner in that moment?
I mean, I had episodes. I was manic. I know, you know, like I was impossible to work with. Like, I was drinking heavily, I was doing drugs, I was cutting. I've always struggled with like mental health. I had a very traumatic childhood, which led me to, I know now that I was diagnosed with a personality disorder. That was, it's a trauma-based personality disorder. So you develop it when you have a traumatic childhood. So I developed that. And it comes in waves. It's not always active, but whenever I go through traumatic events, if I don't have proper therapy, it sparks it. And I didn't know. I thought I was just like bonkers. So obviously this triggers it, and it was just like a domino effect at work. It was like the affair, and then my right hand, my academy manager, like 30 days quits on the spot, does not give me a chance to hire anybody else. So now I'm running the salon by myself. And then slowly, like the team just kind of like turned on me, and everybody was just so cruel. To this day, I don't know why. Yeah. Obviously there's more to that. It could be the fact that, you know, I was also kind of like a, you know, kick her while she's down. But also that I was in a manic state. I hadn't been diagnosed. I didn't know what was going on. I was dealing with all this stuff. So I'm sure I wasn't the most pleasant to be around, you know, but it was a literal like domino effect. And it felt like my world was falling apart, you know?
And how do you feel like you pulled yourself out of that place? Obviously, this is something that I know happened slowly and gradually. It happened really slowly,
yeah.
But
it felt like 400
from now,
years.
looking at it from like a bird's eye view, how...
Yeah. Well, I remember that year, I mean, like now I know it was God, you know, like, and the only reason that I'm here today was because I found Christ, and he pulled me, like the love of Christ and like finding my church friends and like diving into that and like understanding his purpose for me really grounded me, and it pulled me out of the darkness. But in that time, in that year, I was lost. I was burning sage. I was doing witchcraft, reading tarot. Like I was just so far gone, and I was doing like all this craziness and drugs and everything. And that year I hated God. And I remember I had a conversation with you, and I was so angry at God. Now, I had already given my life to Christ in my early 20s, met my ex-husband, and turned from God because he did not believe.
Which tells you everything.
Which he wasn't Christian. He was raised Catholic, and he didn't believe in that, so he would not go to church with me. So I turned from God.
Away from God.
I turned from my faith and became like a witch. You know, I was like a Spanish Miami witch. I was reading cards and stuff, and you know, I worked in that time, but it deterred me from my purpose. And I wholeheartedly think that that's why I went through what I went through. I think that it was God's way of being like, I need to do this so that you can find your way back to me. And if I don't do this, like, it's not going to happen. I needed to reach the bottom, and I needed to be isolated. Like, and that happens, and the Lord does that sometimes. Like, he shows you like what it feels like to be truly alone so that you realize that you can only rely on him. And that's literally what happened. I had never felt so alone in my entire life. So much so that I contemplated ending my life. And I don't say that like jokingly, like, you know, I went from like cutting to like literally sitting there. I remember like Googling, the divorce hadn't finalized, and I was like researching, and I was like, what's going to happen to my family? Like, what's going to happen with the house? And I was like looking at the financials, like if I kill myself, what happens with my my life insurance? Like, does it like, and I remember doing the research. I was like, does it like, will my mom not get the money? Like, who's going to be responsible for the house? Like, that's how bad it got. And nobody knows that. But like, I wanted to die. Like, I really wanted to die. I hated it. I got to a place where I was like, the pain is so severe that I don't know what else to do. I just don't want to wake up anymore. And I thank God so much. I don't know how I made it through. I thank God for you, because like the days that I couldn't show up, you showed up for me. And I'm just so grateful.
I love you.
And I know that I was not the easiest. And I know that I was cruel to you too, you know, because I was just in this manic state, and I was just like, I don't want to deal with any of it.
Through so much.
Yeah, but you stayed with me, so I appreciate that. No, I really do, and I don't think I thank you enough. And sometimes I think about it and I feel bad, because I'm like, I was impossible, and you stood by me. You could have fired me.
Because I love you.
She could have fired me, you guys. I would have been like, girl, I'm not dealing with this. She stayed, and I was such a brat.
I think you were just going through so many things. But you, in my eyes, you still kept going.
Yeah,
which
I tried. I felt like
you still have. I don't think people are aware of this, but the rent of the space, the clients, hosting the classes, like
y'all.
I'm telling you, she would be doing these master classes with students. I have to put on this positive energy and teaching and being bubbly and excited. And we would be doing monthly content days where I would show up with my whole little camera,
and I'd be like shaky with my vape. Like
she would be like, you know, obviously going through it.
Like going through it. Things that you're gonna get from our in-person training.
You look dead in your eyeballs.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with me. When I get the anxiety, sometimes it kills out, like dims my light. Ready?
In my eyes, why did I not give up? Not only because I love you personally, and it's been so many years, but in my eyes, you just hadn't given up. So why would I give up on you when you haven't given up? Like, I'm gonna stick by you. And I think you still showed up in the way that you could. Yeah. At that point
and there was times that I called you, and like, I mean, you would spend like 30 minutes on the phone, like telling me like, dude, you're not crazy. Like you were like my therapist, and you would be like, you're not crazy for feeling that way. Like it's unfair. Like people are being cruel to you. You got this. And you would like speak life into me. And like, dude, like there was like 2 people that whole year, and you were one of them that like, you guys carried me through the year. Like honestly, until finally it all just like, it made sense. I remember like after, you know, I hired the accountant, which you hired too. And that I did post about, so some of you guys know. And I hired her in an attempt to get my finances in order and prepare for the divorce. She steals from me. And I was like, y'all, I can't get a break. Lord, what is happening? But, you know, as the year like came to an end, you know, and like I said, I was really angry at God that year. So like there was like no hope for me, because I was in this dark place, and I was just like, why does this keep happening to me? And then rearing the end of the 1 year of that all that happening, I just had this epiphany. I was like invited to go to church. One of the girls in the salon, Mo, who I love so much, she had asked me like 45 times. And I was like, girl, like, I don't want to go to church. That's not who I am. Like I have nothing to talk to God about. Like, did you not see
my life?
Did you see my life? And I was like, pick another soldier. Like, why do you guys like, what? I was so over it. And I think like the 5th time she was like, dude, please just come to church with me. It's gonna be super cool. My church is super cool, which is true. Like the church she was going to was like the cool church. And I was like, fine. And and you know, she got me because she was like, I want my man to go, you know, like, I think it would be best, like if you go too, like we can all go together. And like, I kind of saw that she really wanted it to be like a whole thing. And I was like, okay. I was like in an attempt to like get somebody else to go to, I was like, fine, I'll go. And it just hit me like a brick wall. Like I was sitting at church, and like it all just made sense. It was almost like,
did you walk out of there like?
I was like, wow. I was like, I need to come back again. Yeah, it was like, and it wasn't even just that day. It was like the week that followed, like everything. It was like, that's what I needed. That was like the entryway. That was like, I got there and I felt like I was home. It felt so familiar, and it took me back. I was like, what? Like, why didn't I
doing? Yeah.
Well, like, what was I doing, and why was I doing it alone? And then that week that followed, it was like, like God like kind of like placed all these little hints, and I would like dream, and I would wake up and I'd be like, oh, and like it was like this like epiphany that I was like, oh my God, like he was there the whole time. Like he was with me. I was never alone. And everything that was happening to me was a blessing. It was opening the way. Like that needed to happen for this to happen, and that needed to happen for this to happen. And it all just like, it all made sense, you know? And I was like, wow. And I stopped blaming myself. I stopped blaming the people. And I was like, you know, I was finally in this moment of like gratitude. Like, thank God I'm alive. Thank God that in those moments when I wanted to end my life, I didn't. Yeah. Because I wouldn't have reached that moment of like, wow.
And forgiveness.
Forgiveness,
you really leaned into the forgiveness that even me being outside of the situation, I was kind of like, damn.
A lot of people were like, how did you do that?
How did you forgive so realistic, like so raw? Like you genuinely forgave to a level that it wasn't just like, oh, I forgive them and I hope, you know, I wish them well. It was like a genuine, like, yeah, I forgive them.
I forgive them, yeah.
And I think that was...
And it's not just like them, like all of them.
Everything.
Everyone.
Even yourself in some level.
Yeah, I mourned myself. I cried a lot, you know. I mourned like the person that I was before everything happened. And, but yeah, I forgave all of them. And I mean, like if I haven't personally forgiven you and you took a L, you know, like you took a hit while I was down, I forgive you. I really do. And I had like, I remember the year that followed, I got calls from people. I got calls from like my right hand that left me, that I was like, how could you do that? And you know, it was beautiful because it was like in that year I spoke to my ex-husband again, and like we had like this moment where he kind of like opened up about everything that had happened, and I was like, dude, you know, like I forgive you. I hope that like whatever it was that you guys were searching for, that you find it. Like I want you to be happy. I want to be happy. Yeah, and I want to heal too. I don't want to carry this weight. I don't want to carry this weight. I don't want to carry this anguish. Like life happens, you know, like, and you have to move on. And like it's my choice. Sometimes people like, look, you don't have to forget the things that happened to you. Like I never said I was going to forget what happened to me. Like how could I ever forget? Like that was a core memory. And it was like
shaped you.
It shaped me. It was like necessary, you know, but am I going to carry the hate? Am I going to carry the vendetta, you know, like, and that weight of like, it's just, it takes so much energy. And let me tell you, forgiveness is hard. That's a long process. Like you can't just be like, I forgive you. That is like internal work that has to be done. I have to wake up every single day and choose to put those feelings aside and wish well. One of the hardest things about Christianity was like praying for your enemies, you know, like choosing to wake up like, and be like, which one should I pray for today?
All of them.
But yeah, it was a year of like, the year that followed that year of darkness, we'll call it the year of darkness, was a year of work. And it was
every aspect. And at the same time, through all of this emotional, spiritual changes happening in your life, your business was still running. You still had to sell classes.
It was running, but the business,
your bills paid, the salon, big rent,
lots of
paid.
Bills, and everything on my own. And like I had mouths to feed, I had animals to feed, I had a lot going on. And I will say openly, like my business took a hit, like financially. Yeah. We were surviving and the show was still running, but I mean, like there was a huge decline, primarily because like I was kind of not there. I was MIA, like nothing was done like with like intention. Like there was I wasn't coming to content days like with all these ideas. Like I was just, I didn't want to be at work. I don't think people realize that. Like it was a chore. I hated my job. I hated Slayy. I hated what it meant. I hated the salon. I hated the women there. I would show up to work and I did not want to be there. It was a year of like, I hated all of it. And I was locked in for 3 years. I had chairs that were rented. I had students that were booking classes, y'all. And I did not want to deal with any of it. Like, and I think we made a post talking about like falling out of love with your business, but you guys didn't realize why. I fell out of love with my business because my business turned on me. My people turned on me and I didn't feel like an artist anymore. I could not reconnect. Like I did not feel creative at all. Like I lost I lost the spark. I lost that spark. I really did though. Yeah. I didn't feel like an artist. Everything felt like a chore. Yeah. I didn't even feel like myself.
And I don't think you realized, I think it got to a point that you lost sight of how good you are. During that time specifically, you were just like seeing so many negative sides of yourself that you forgot the light, you forgot the good parts of you.
Gami, and I remember I would call you and I'd be like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why? Because it was, and I think that had a lot to do with it. Like, I didn't see the special in me because since it was a domino effect and so many people turned on me in the span of like 6 months, I felt like there is something deeply wrong with me. Like, I am not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of respect. I'm not worthy of friendships. I'm not worthy, like, because everybody is turning on me. So I internalized that, and I felt like a total like liar. I felt like I wasn't Slayy. I wasn't an artist. I wasn't a good master. I just felt like less than.
So many of us don't realize like the level of similarities that we have in stories. Like maybe you guys, you know, hopefully you haven't gone through an affair. Hopefully these things haven't happened to you, but other things might have happened while being a business owner.
Where you feel like this, you know?
Where you have felt this pain.
Just even mental health, like struggling with mental health, struggling with depression and anxiety, you know, which I struggle with, struggling with personality disorders and running a business. Like,
that's not easy.
Super stressful. Having a partner, like choosing, and it happens, you know, like we marry people that are not good partners. We marry people that don't see the vision that we see, that instead of supporting and building us, they tear us down.
Yeah.
Like, that is hard. Like, you cannot go into, and if this is you, man, like, you cannot build an empire. You cannot build something that's great when you have somebody beside you that does not see your vision, does not support your vision, and tears it down daily. I don't even know how I built Slayy to get to the level that it was, considering that the person beside me hated me, despised everything that I was doing, and actively worked against me. Like, how did I even get to where I was? I can't imagine if I was single, you know, and had I started this before I got married, how much further I would have been able to go, you know?
Yeah. Once all these things happened, obviously throughout the past year, specifically like I would say middle of 2024 to the end of 2024, and now starting 2025, how has the meaning of success changed for you?
Like, completely. Success before was a very like prideful. I had a very prideful definition of success. Success was money. It was like visual success. It was like the pride of like having, like flaunting, having the salon, having the team, having the car, having the house, flying, first class, dinners. Like that was success. Success was like, to me, was money, having money and status. That was success. That's what I lived.
And it didn't matter how much.
And although I was humble, like I was never like, you know, we say presumida, like I wasn't presumida, but that was what success was to me. Success was
like it was coming from a place of lack.
From a place of lack. Yeah.
Because just to put this out there, not that you would ever say this, what I'm about to say, but me being part of your team, I know this. You were still making money.
Yeah.
Like you were making really good money.
Yeah.
But no matter what, I feel like when you're in a space of like lacking, it just doesn't feel like enough.
So crazy, because I look back now and I was like stressing the money. I was making so much money.
Yeah.
And I look back now and I'm like, what was I doing? Like, so dumb.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, so I gave my life to Christ, right? Recentered, started therapy, figured out I had the disorder, started doing a little bit of therapy with that, going to church, studying the Bible. Started healing. I did a lot of,
I feel like you did a
and
really
I had to
good
learn
job.
to be alone. So I sold the house. So that year of darkness, I still had my home, and I was trying to keep everything. And then I entered this era where I was like, why do I keep holding on to these things? Like, I have to let them go. Financially too, it was just like a burden.
Yeah.
So I transitioned to less. I sold the house. I moved into like this adorable little apartment in Coconut Grove. I remember walking into that apartment. The moment I walked in, I felt like I could breathe.
Yeah.
I remember like walking into my old home, like it felt like dark.
The
energy was just off. And it was like this home that I had built. And I would walk in and like I didn't want to do anything. I would just go into depression. I remember I would stay at the salon, which I also hated being at, till like 9 p.m. or 10 because I didn't want to go home.
avoid going home.
And then I would get home and it was like, so just moving too. So at the start of 2024, I moved to the Grove. And I sell everything, you guys. I sell everything. All of my expensive furniture, the CB2, the R house, the restoration hardware, y'all. I sold it for nothing. I was just like, and I remember my mom being like, are you crazy? Like, how are you selling? And I was like, I don't want anything. I don't want anything. I want everything to be new. I want to
start fresh.
I want to start fresh. I want to thrift things. I love thrifting. Who knew? I'm a thrifter. Like, I want to thrift things. I want things that are authentic to me. I want to build a space that's mine. I had never in my adult life lived on my own.
Yeah.
I was like literally like since I'd always lived with a partner, you know, and it was the first time that I had my own things, and that was really hard. I didn't know how to be alone.
Challenging, right?
That was so challenging. I didn't know how to be alone. I was afraid to be alone. And I had to learn to be alone. And now I love being alone. Like, I don't want to go anywhere.
Which
Like,
is amazing. I feel
I
like
love being
you have to
home
hit
with like my
like
dog.
being that in that solitude within yourself to be able to get to know yourself in a way deeper level.
Yeah.
And I feel like you did that. That really pushed you towards healing even more. As soon as you moved into that space, which I knew, as soon as you sent me the video, I remember when you first got the keys to the place, I was like, this is so you. This space is so
cute.
you. And you built it out so fast. So everything kind of just flowed.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that the best move you could have done was letting go of the house. And I feel like God was basically like, really? Like, you're still gonna hold on to the house?
Yeah, no, literally. And I remember being like, it was all so crazy. Like all of it like happened, like selling the house and stuff happened so crazy because I wanted like a specific price for it. And the realtor was like, you can't do that. You live in an association. All the houses are the same. And I was like, yeah, but I renovated. And they're like, yeah, but you renovated for you, not for, like real estate is so weird. And I remember the first realtor that came to kind of talk to me to see if I listed the house was like, you're insane. You can't ask this much for it. And I'm talking about like I was selling the house to make back what I had invested in it. Like it's not like I really didn't make anything off of it. I just made back like but that's what I wanted. Y'all, the second realtor that came was the one that sold me the house. And he came, he saw the house and he was like, it's high, but I mean, we'll do it. I don't think that's what you want to do? We're going to do it. And I'm like, okay, dude, we didn't even list the house. Like I think we like listed the house within like 30 minutes. Like it was like on the MLS. Like we didn't post that we're going to do an open house. Like within 30 minutes, he texted me and he's like, we have 6 showings for tomorrow. And I was like, freaking out. Like I had to call the cleaning lady to come clean the house. The house sold in 3 days. And in 3 days, we had 4 offers. 3 of which were more than what I had asked for. That when I tell y'all that God wanted me out of that house, it was like, I kid you not. He was like, you're getting out. So when you ask me what success looks like to me now, like April 2025, it's completely different than that Desi that walked into this new space 1,000 years ago.
Different vision.
Yeah,
right?
Completely different vision. And obviously, like this last year has put that into perspective. Like I've learned to prioritize my mental health and show up when I needed to, even if that meant that it was at a cost, being that, like I had less engagement or the business. I wasn't always showing up for the business. I learned to show up for myself. I learned to prioritize my mental health, to take the breaks that I needed and to heal. And because of that, like it's given me this new realization that like success to me now is completely different. Success to me now is living an intentional life, like living intentionally, being surrounded by people that genuinely love me, not just people, that are just there, like having real friends, having family, spending time and making connections, something that I didn't have time to do before. I wasn't pouring like really into like my friendships and my family. I was pouring into people and students and stuff for work, but not in my personal life. So I think right now success is like pouring into the people that pour into me, making sure that my cup is full so that I can pour into other, and like just prioritizing my inner circle, my happiness, me, Desi, not Slayy, not the CEO, like me. And making sure that I have what I need, because money is great. Money is great, but let me tell you guys something. When I made the most money, and I'm talking about like over $1 million in my business, I was miserable. I was depressed. And I'm not saying that money's gonna do that to you. Like you could live a really happy life and have lots of money, but that's what happened to me. And it made me realize that in the years that I made the most profit, I was the most unhappy. And in this past year that I've probably made the least profit in my business, if I'm being, honest and raw with you guys, I have been the happiest physically, mentally, emotionally, the most sane and healthy that I have ever been in my life. And that was without, millions of dollars. So it just goes to show you that yes, the fluff, the money, it is nice. And I would love to, just get paid to, just sit here. That'd be amazing. But the reality is that what I realize is as long as I'm healthy, as long as I'm happy, and as long as like I've got like my mental health under control and I have people beside me that love me, that's all that I need. And I have the love of God. I refocused my life and I found real purpose. And I found healing, something that I didn't think was possible.
So what is your vision now with Slayy?
So, I mean, that's why we're here, right? So what I came to realize was, I was holding on to like this thing, just like everything that I had to grow out of. Slayy was the last thing that I couldn't get rid of. I couldn't, because I was locked in. And now as my lease is coming to an end, it was a no-brainer. Like the lease was coming to an end. And for a second I thought, you know, like when I renovated that I painted like not even 6 months ago, I was like, oh, maybe we'll stay, you know? I just needed a refresh because I had to live in the space, you know? But as we got closer to the day, like God just made it so clear. There were just things that were happening that were like such clear signs that like this was the last of my past that I needed to let go. And that's why like I'm closing Slayy down. And you guys might be wondering like, or thinking, oh my gosh, you know, poor Desi. Oh my gosh, she's closing down the salon. That has to suck. Y'all, I am so happy. Like you guys don't understand like the joy that I have. Like I cannot wait. Like I wish I could have gotten rid of this salon a year or two ago. I would have done it. I couldn't. I felt like I was a prisoner to my space. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've made such beautiful memories in the space with my students, and I've met such beautiful people, you know, like there's good memories.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, the bad ones, like they surpass it. That space and the people in it were cruel to me. And I got past a lot of it, but there's no hard feeling that I can't wait. And also, like I realized something about myself, like healing, right? Like I spent a whole year like really reanalyzing myself as a person, like what I enjoy, what I don't. And one thing that I realized is I do not enjoy running a salon. Like, why did I even think that that was like something I wanted to do?
Most people think like that, right?
Y'all,
I feel like
it is not fun. Like I like being like my own boss, but being a boss for other people, oh no. First of all, I am an innovator. I'm a creative. I like being positive. I am a ray of sunshine. I like showing up and being the life of the party. I do not enjoy micromanaging people. I don't enjoy like the bad side. Like I'm not a good boss.
What would you tell people that have that dream or vision because they see it everywhere online and they think that that's the only way to really be successful, to have a big team, have a big space?
Guys, it's not. And it's not for everyone. It's not for the weak. Like the only specific people like can be that, you know what I mean? Yeah. I would say like, if you have no experience doing that, like start small, like hire one person maybe, you know, or like just
get to know yourself.
Get to know yourself, yeah. And like you're
sometimes the vision of success that you think, like having the salon, having the big team, having all these big things because they look good on video online. It's a lot of responsibility too. Just because they look good doesn't mean that maybe that's exactly what you want. Like I feel like asking yourself, what do you truly want? And not only that, but like we can use me as an example. Like that year of like darkness I didn't tell you guys what was going on. So if you were watching my page feeling inspired, oh my gosh, I used to get those messages all the time. You're such an inspiration. That year, I was literally like, I'd be like in my room like crying, and I would get a DM from like a student. I'm talking about like heartfelt DMs that would like hit me like in my core. And it was like, Des, you're such an inspiration. I love you so much. Thank you. You know, like I did this, and if it wasn't for you and your online training, and I'm reading this message like, you have no idea what I'm going through right now. And I remember being like, I feel like such. Yeah, you would tell me, I feel like I'm faking it. Like, but I would tell you. What's the word? Like imposter? Like I would have like, not imposter syndrome, but you felt like an imposter because you were going through so much while still getting so much love. But the reality is that you did build what you build, which is what I would always tell you. Like you're not faking anything. Yeah. What they're looking up to is the reality. Real, but it's just not how I feel. It's just not how you're feeling it. And all this to say that if you think that your version of success and like your vision for success is having the salon, having the team, and you're envious or looking at other people and feeling that jealous, you're making that, or maybe that's making you feel like you're not doing enough. Yeah. Understand that you have no idea what's going on. You have no idea, exactly. Behind the curtains. I didn't post that. So if you were looking at my page and you were like, man, I want what Des has. Like I want, she's killing it. You know, like I was struggling. I was like not in a good place. I was in a dark place. So get to know what you truly want, which is what you not what other people have. Like figure out what you enjoy, you know? So what do you want now? I miss the old me. You know, like I miss the artist, and I feel like I lost that, you know, and I've been trying to find it again. And that's why I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like, I don't want to manage a huge space. I don't want that, man, the responsibility, the weight. It's a lot. Do you want to have a team? Maybe. I don't think right now. It's time for me to go back to basics. I need to rediscover me, Desi, the artist. Like I want to fall in love with my art. I want to be a better artist. And in order to do that, I need to be alone. Like I need to take a break from pouring into people. I need to take a break from taking on all these responsibilities, and I need to just be an artist. So where will you be working now? If you're closing down the space, where are you going to be working
I don't
out
know.
of?
I guess you're going to have to tune in and find out. I will still be taking clients. Like, it's not the end of Desi. It's the end of an era, for sure. But it's not the end of me. Like, I'm still going to be doing like permanent makeup. I'm obviously like, I'm still going to be mentoring my students and stuff. I will be taking a break from teaching because, like I said, I need to fill my cup creatively. And I can't do that if I'm constantly pouring into others. Like, I need my own energy. I need to you know, I need to mom myself. So I will be slowing down with trainings, but I am still going to be taking clients. I might be working another salon. I might have my own little space. I don't know. You guys, you know, you're going to have to tune in because the reality is that we're still figuring things out. All I know is what I know. And what I know is that I can't wait to officially close the doors and, you know, start this solo journey, I guess I would say. Maybe the future is unknown. I'm putting it all in God's hands. Obviously, I'm leaving it very open to whatever the Lord wants for my life and for my business. I'm also really excited to restart this new chapter in this new business with God at the center of it, which is something that I never did. Like, I want to make that known. And I know that it's not everybody's religion, you know, but it's why I'm here. Like, there was a chance that in that year of darkness, it would have been the end of my story. And I'm here and that's my purpose. So I want to make sure that I live, you know, I live my life through that and for that, you know, like with purpose.
What are you going to stop offering and what are you going to still offer?
So no more group trainings. And all of this to say that I don't know what the future holds. Maybe in a year, 2 years, it changes. But for the next year, the foreseeable future, no more group trainings. I had played with the idea of still offering like private trainings, like maybe once a month, but I think I'm gonna take some of the dates down. So I don't know if I wanna do that either. Maybe not. I'll have very selective dates for people that wanna train with me privately. I think I'm gonna kind of just let whoever wants to learn from me register through like a more digital, you know, like maybe like online mentoring or something like that. And then I'll products. No more products. I know, oh my gosh. And I've already gotten a lot of messages about the numbing cream. I'm sorry, you guys. I know you love my numbing.
Phased is a cult fave.
Phased. Oh, I've gotten so many messages. People are freaking out. And so much so that I've almost like thought, like, should I just keep phased, you know? But no, I'm sorry. I love you guys. I can't let it go. Rest in peace, phase. So no more products, no more trainings for now.
No more salon.
No more salon, meaning that you can't just pop in and come see me. Like I know some of you guys do that. None of that will take place. However, if you want services, they will be available.
By appointment only.
By appointment only. And then the logistics, I'm sure I'll talk more about as we get closer to June, which is like the day that we officially are out of the space. I'll have kind of like, if you're gonna book an appointment, you know, you'll have instructions on where to go, so on and so forth.
What would you say to the version of yourself 3 years ago, right now? Like if Desi could
like before, right now, like before everything happened?
Yeah, like her walking into this new space.
Oh my gosh.
What would you say to her?
I don't know. Wow.
You had her sitting in front of you with the blonde hair.
I can't. I would start crying. I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna get emotional.
Baby.
Stop.
It's okay.
I'm such a baby crier. I would probably just cry. I'd probably just sit beside her and just cry.
Like,
she'd be like, what is going on?
I literally just got the new keys. What do you mean you're crying?
I would just tell her not to give up. I'd tell her that, you know, I'd wish her the best. I wouldn't detour her. Like I would, if I was to meet her, I wouldn't tell her like life was going to get hard, you know.
Spoil it.
But I would definitely like breathe some life into her and just tell her that she's worthy and that she's loved. And that even in her darkest moments, she's never alone. And that she's going to be so happy a few years from now. And to just always remember that. Like, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and you're going to be so happy one day. And that's what I would tell her. What I'm hoping that you take away from this is, like, I don't know what you guys are going through, and I don't know if my story resonates, like, parts of it with you, but just know that, I mean, I feel like there's just this stigma, you know, like, oh my gosh, she's closing down her salon. And, you know, like, it's always like a negative thing. And I just want you guys to know that your story is your story. And sometimes we focus and we put all this energy onto like what other people think. And like, you got to do what feels right for you and not worry about like what other people think, you know, like whatever feels right and what's needed in that moment. is what you should do. And that's where I am at. Like, this is what's good for me. This is what feels right.
And as I said, getting to know yourself, getting to know your vision as a business owner
Yeah.
is so important, especially in the beauty industry. I
Yeah.
will say, with this big wave of like everybody suddenly wants to like be a teacher and
Preach,
do classes. You know, I mean, you can speak on this better than I can. I'm not in the beauty industry, but it is, people don't realize the level of responsibility and also work that it takes to be a teacher. Not everybody's meant to be a teacher. And I feel like once you get into like the rat race of how can I make more money? Well, in order for me to make more money, as soon as you tell yourself the only way I can make more money is if I start doing classes and you're just doing it just for the money, it's short-lived, right?
Yeah. I don't know, it's just like this expectation, like you see people like big artists teaching and then like you're probably sitting there like, oh my gosh, I want a studio like Des and I want to teach classes like her. And it's like, you guys, do what feels right to you as an artist. If you love teaching and that is the next step, then teach. If you love managing people and building teams and that is your strong suit, then do that. But if that is not you, you don't have to do that for like this idea of success. That's not success. Like having booked out clients, having back-to-back, like, you know, your 3 clients, your full day booked, you're making like $2,000 a day because you're fully booked. That's amazing. You've got content. I meet a lot of people and they're like, oh no, because I want to start training. I'm going to do private trainings. And I'm like, is it even worth it? Like sometimes people think like training, like you got to pour into the student. You got to invest in all their materials.
To
like
make sure that the training is good.
You got to make sure, so you're spending time creating the training. Like so you're not getting like content like of clients. You're not progressing in your artistry and practicing your artistry because now you've just like maneuvered into this new realm, you know? And like you can't just train people and disappear. You're a mentor now. That is your responsibility. You're pumping out new artists, and it's like,
don't do it just
don't do it just to do it, because that's a whole other like dinosaur. You know, I could literally do a whole podcast on just this topic.
We should, because I feel like a lot of people need to hear that. So I think
I'm excited to just be the artist. I'm excited to go back. So I just want you guys to know, if you're looking at this and you're like, I think I need to be a teacher to be successful. No, I'm actually going to go back to just like focusing on my art, because there's so much power in that. Like that's where it started, you know, like I can't wait to like just create art. I can't wait to just worry about myself.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that too.
Yeah.
It's funny because when we were talking about this video and kind of like how the conversation was gonna flow, it's like, I wonder how people are going to take it, she was saying. And I think that it's because we know people might see this and see it as like a negative or like a downfall, or like, oh, she's falling off, like she doesn't have it. And it's like, that's the mindset that fucks you up, and that's the mindset that keeps you doing things that you don't want to do.
And I'm sure there's still going to be people that watch that and feel that way, and that's okay. You know, like if that's how you see it.
She's happy.
But I'm happy. I am so happy. And again, like you, I've changed also a lot. Like I don't think that the old me would want what I want now. Obviously, like I had like a huge like growth. You know, I've stepped into a new version of me. I'm like more feminine me. Like I don't want to be a boss girl anymore. I remember like our slogan was like, be your own sugar daddy. I have somebody that loves me, wants to take care of me, you know, and that pours into me. And I never had that. And like my goals and my idea of success, like we said, has changed. Like I'm excited to build a life with this person. I'm excited to be a mom, something I thought I could never be. And I can't do that because I'm already a mom to 1,000 students. All you guys, I'm your mom. So I'm excited to pull back so that I can pour into this new life. And that's really special. So if you're looking at that and that's the life that you're currently living, that I want that. You know what I mean? Like that's success. So like don't fall into the rat race of like Instagram or what other people have. Like do what feels right to you, you know?
And now what can they expect from this new brand? Like, are you changing your name? By the way, guys, I'm asking all these questions that I know you may be having because I know the answer to all these questions, but are you going to be changing the Instagram name? Are you going to be changing your content? When are you going to officially make all these changes on the brand?
So yes, and yes. Yes, we will be slowly transitioning into the new era. You know, I love Slayy, but I think it's time to put Slayy to rest. I don't know if you guys have been watching the tattoo removal process. We're removing Slayy from my hands.
Do they know that you have Slayy?
I got Slayy tattooed on my hand. So it's like Slayy. I'm currently getting it removed. Not that I want to like erase my past or anything, but I think I'm just entering like a new era.
Yeah.
I am planning on changing my name. I'm not sure like to what just yet. Content-wise, I will be transitioning. I want you guys to get to know me. There's a lot of newness happening, and I want to take you guys along the ride. I don't want it to just be focused on brows and technique. You know, I want you guys. I was looking at my camera and I was telling Kami this right before we started filming, and I was like, I have recorded so much of my life and never posted it. Like my trips, my going to do classes, my renovating my house, like DIYs that I've done, thrifting, like yeah, I was like, I always record all this content, never do anything with it. And I'm ready to let you guys in, like, you know, and because there's so much, I'm such a multifaceted like person.
Yeah.
I have so much that I enjoy that I do. And I only share with you guys this one part. And it's, you know, it's
held you back in a sense.
It has held me back. So I'm excited to take you guys along the ride. You know, am I going to stay in Miami? Am I going to open another salon? Am I going to teach? Who knows what I'm going to do, you know, but you guys will know because I'm going to start sharing it with you. So I think that's what we're going to do. The page is going to have a shift. And I think I'm ready to share like all the parts of my life because it's exciting. I'm excited for my future. And I feel like there's going to be a lot more than just brows. So
I love that. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be so good. I know that everybody's going to love. Speaking from experience, I think that you live such a beautiful life, and you're, as you said, you're multifaceted. To me, you're multi-talented.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
You have so many things that you do, and you do so well. And I think that it's such a fun thing to share, and people, you guys are going to love. If you love her brow content right now, just wait until you see how she interior decorates. I don't know if you know this, but she's like a freaking interior decorator, like designer to like a level that you don't even know. She is the most wonderful dog mom.
I am.
The most wonderful partner, girlfriend. Like there's so many things to you, and I think I'm so
and there's so many littles. Like I'm like the fun tia. You know, I have like, you know, godchildren and two, and like there's so much to me that people just don't know.
So
you know?
Now you can expect to see all of it, and I can expect to see it because I cannot wait to see it all unfold.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
And we're in April right now, so we're recording this in the beginning of April. My birthday is this month. You know, I'm going to Japan. So
definitely you're going to be sharing that.
Yeah,
right?
maybe we'll share some of that. By the time you see this, I will have already come back from Japan. but yeah, there's a lot. I'm excited to just share all of that, you know.
I'm going to this new chapter.
I know. I shared my boyfriend I would say like on my personal page, like I shared him the other day, and so, like 4 people DM'd me and they were like, oh, I thought you were single. And I was like, y'all, I've been dating this man for like a year. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to just share my life with you guys. No more hiding.
No more.
Yeah.
Time to be raw, real.
And that's it.
That's
it, guys. That's
We've officially done it.
Hey. Love you. Come.
Famous Jordan.
Jordan. Hey.
Get closer to your girl because you guys in the lens need to be closer.
Oh, are we like matching? Kind of.
Maybe.
Yes, this is Jordan, you guys. This is my boyfriend.
That's me.
Yes, who I've been dating and hiding for a long time. I feel not hiding, but just like on my personal page. I haven't posted him much. So here he is, guys, in all his glory. This man has been helping me heal and being so good to me.
That was so long ago. How long ago did you guys meet?
So that was like March.
Not March. I would say April. I think it was like May.
Yeah.
Like
it was,
end of April.
Full year.
We're literally hitting like a year. That's when we you know, like matched and started talking.
Yeah, it was like right after your birthday.
Right after my birthday, yeah.
Yeah. And that was
end of April, which is cute because now we're gonna like literally ring in like the 1 year of meeting each other in their country. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I wanted to show him because, you know, I am gonna be posting more of him so you guys could see man of the hour. You want to say something?
Poor guy, don't put him on the spot.
Yeah.
No, he's good. He's a good speaker. Talk to his people.
I guess so. What do you want me to say? Like,
how has Desi changed in this whole past year that you've known her?
Have I changed since I met you a year ago? Or have I?
How have you changed? I wouldn't say that you've changed. Like, I would say that, I mean, it's been great for me, like personally. Selfishly, it's been great to have like a girlfriend like you that I haven't had a relationship where I've had someone who's like so supportive and like encouraging and just like loving. So it's probably like, you know, it was different for me. And it's like, it was really nice. So I wouldn't say that you've changed. It's just like, it's a change in my perspective of like a relationship where I've never had that, where it was like it was like more than what I was used to. So
same. I feel the same way.
So
That's so sweet. I was like, don't cry, don't cry. You guys, wow.